Today I'm going to show you how to test ignition coils for motorcycles and mopeds. Let's get started. Here's a collection of coils and spark plug caps, because that's usually part of the ignition coil system. I'm going to show you how to check it with a Volt Ohm Meter. You'll need a Volt Ohm Meter that has reading times 1 and reading times 1,000 to test these coils. Remove the spark plug cap because it can mess up your readings. And inspect it, because a lot of times, like look at this, it's cracked there. And a lot of times that causes problems. Set that aside for now. Set your Volt Ohm Meter to the reading times 1 range. Test your meter and zero it. Take the wire, usually a black wire or a colored wire like on this one. You want to measure across that either to the ground if you have this style. See, I got about 1 ohm. Or if it's this style where you have 2 wires, you want to measure across the 2 wires. And then measure across. And this one's about 2.5 ohms. Then you want to change it to the reading times 1,000, because it's 5,000 to 10,000 ohms across the high voltage coil. Again, you want to zero your meter. Poke your red lead into the end where you can see the wire. Ground the other part out. And this one's about 6,000 ohms. If it's, say, this style, you'll need to remove the end. Inside there is a barb. Touch the brown wire or the one that's not coated. You'll see on the reading that this one's about 8,000 ohms. That means they test good electrically, but that doesn't mean that they still function. So in order to really test them, you need to make a test circuit to test to see if the coil actually sparks. If the readings didn't come out good on this, I would discard them. But since they did, they could still be broken down inside. Remember, there's 2 coils in here. There's a low voltage one and a high voltage one. Sometimes they're connected internally, sometimes they're connected externally. Like say on this model. This is the high voltage here and here, and this would go to the frame. And if you see these 2 wires, this is the low voltage. All ignition coils are this way for motorcycles and mopeds. Here's the moped one. To test that, this is the high voltage coil, and usually these are marked. It's the low voltage terminals, and one of these is connected to the high voltage terminal. And you can test that. We'll do that now. We got the settings on 1,000 ohms, so we poke the lead in the end and test this thing has a mark where it says ground or earth. And if you test it, it comes up about 4,500 ohms. And if you want to test across this, it has to go to the low voltage coil. It's got to be on the 1x ohms range, and it's about 1.5 ohms. So that's how you test it with the VOM, but that does not mean it's good. You need to make a test circuit to test to see if the coil actually sparks, because it could be shorted inside, and when the high voltage is energized, it could short itself out. So let's do that next. And that's how you test ignition coils. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.